30 of the first 34 Supreme Court justices owned slaves. Sit with that for a second. These men were charged with interpreting liberty, fairness, and due process. These men were deciding what justice looked like for everyone. These were the men who ruled on whether a corporation could be held accountable, whether a father deserved custody, whether a woman had agency over her body. These were the men entrusted with morality, and they believed you could own another human being. That alone should have delegitimized the judicial branch forever, but instead we doubled down. We built entire systems on the backs of these men's rulings. We constructed libraries around their interpretations. We call them honorable. We forced generations to call them justice, and now we live with the gaslight of it all, knowing in our guts that these courts are rigged, yet still pretending that they are sacred. We pretend that judges are impartial when we know that they're handpicked by partisan power brokers. We pretend that justice is blind while lawyers play a chess game where the rules shift for the rich. We pretend that access is equal, even though justice in America comes with a paywall. The courtroom is not a temple of fairness. It is a luxury service for those who can afford to fight back. The Constitution says nothing about lawyers, yet you cannot access the courts without one. That alone makes justice inaccessible. If your rights are violated, you must first pay for the right to defend them. You must pay to enter the court, pay to understand the rules, pay to hire someone fluid in language, intentionally designed to exclude you. And even after all of that, you still face a judge whose bias may be more dangerous than the original offense. The law is not neutral. The courts are not neutral. They never were. They were designed by a ruling class to protect the ruling class. They do not protect you. They protect power and only pretend to protect the people. That is their true function. And so we find ourselves in a contradiction. We can no longer ignore the branch of government we were taught to trust as the moral compass of the nation was forged in the hands of the most immoral men imaginable. The people interpreting justice were the same ones who denied it to millions. The ones who defined liberty were the ones who silenced it with chains. You would never invite these men to dinner. You wouldn't trust them with your children. You don't share their views, their ethics, or their vision of the world. And yet, the judges who decide the consequences of your life still rely on their words, still cite their intentions, still kneel before the original meaning of the Constitution drafted by men who believe in slavery, silence women, and feared the poor. We call it precedent. We call it tradition. But what it really is submission. Submission to a legacy of power that was never meant to include you. This is not reverence. This is regression. The judicial branch does not merely interpret law. It preserves the men. It preserves the ghost of men who wrote it, and we still call it democracy.